Victoria Swan Lake.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Speaker. You know, British Columbians could have sworn they heard the Premier say not too long ago, class composition is our #1 priority. And you know why? She paid an insider firm $350 grand to tweet it for her. But her budget yesterday says something completely different, Madam Speaker. Instead of reducing the wait for assessments for kids with individual learning needs that can take up to 2 to 3 years in a school in this province, school districts are being asked to make more cuts and send the money to Victoria again. So how can the Minister of Education promise his government would fully fund the cost of a new teacher's contract only to betray that promise with a budget that leaves school boards on the hook to fund it?
Minister of Education.
You know, Madam Speaker, when I listen to NDP logic when it comes to finances, I struggle. And I struggle for this reason, Madam Speaker. 3 years ago, Madam Speaker, 3 years ago, the opposition said we could not balance the budget. 2 years ago, they said we couldn't balance the budget. And now they're complaining because we have a third balanced budget, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, the 2015 budget delivers significant funding increases to education, Madam Speaker. And I see the members opposite have note papers, so you can write this figure down. $576 million, Madam Speaker, over the next 3 years invested. Another figure for the members opposite, Madam Speaker, is a 33%, write it down, percent increase to the Learning Improvement Fund, which has a direct benefit in the classrooms, Madam
Speaker. Victoria Swan Lake on a supplemental.
Yes, Madam Speaker. You know, if every kid in British Columbia had $10 every time that minister gives out a misleading fact, British Columbia would be first in the nation for school funding instead of 9th. The minister should answer the question. He could deny the promises that he made to 550,000 kids and their parents throughout that 5-week school shutdown, the longest in BC history. But as recently as September 17th, he said, and I want to quote him, quote, "The provincial government will be funding the settlement and not leaving it to school boards to find the money in their existing budgets." The minister surely knows the impact that downloading funding pressures to school districts has on classrooms. A 2014 briefing note to his deputy minister calculates already there's $192 million in unfunded cost pressures. It documents that the ministry does not fund provincially determined cost areas like pension plan adjustments, hydro rate increases, MSP and WorkSafe rate increases, inflationary costs, nor does it cover the wage settlements for support staff and professional staff. The list goes on, Madam Speaker. So again, I say to the minister, how can he explicitly, repeatedly promise his government would fully fund the cost associated with a teacher's contract and then push it on to cash-starved school boards to do it for him?
Minister of Education.
You know, Madam Speaker, I with all respect, appreciate the question, but misleading the facts is calling the kettle calling the pot black here, Madam Speaker. Here is the fact, Madam Speaker. The 6-year teachers' agreement, much to the chagrin of the members opposite, because it's the longest negotiated settlement, Madam Speaker, in the history of the province. And Madam Speaker, I would like to emphasize again for the members opposite that if they read the facts and they read the budget, the teacher settlement, the CUPE settlement is fully funded. And perhaps, Madam Speaker, I don't want to take too much time here, but the last fact I'm going to give the members opposite, Madam Speaker, in a budget for education over $5 billion, asking school districts to work with the government to find a 0.505% saving is not asking too much. We ask it of ourselves, and taxpayers expect governments to find efficiencies that will benefit education, Madam Speaker.